Hey, what is going on, drawittoo crew? Ramny here with a brand new vlog video, and this time we're going to be talking about Deadpool 2 in spoilery fashion. So if you guys have not seen Deadpool 2, go see it and then come back here and watch this video. So yeah, let's get started, you guys. There's actually a couple of things I want to talk about in this vlog, so let's do that. So the first thing I want to talk about is misleading trailers. Now, it's happened, I mean, it's always been happening. You get like, for example, one that I can think of off the top of my head was the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling. That was marketed as an action film, but then if you watch it, it wasn't really an action film. It's like a thriller of some sort. But I like that movie anyway. But this time we have Avengers Infinity War, and then we have Deadpool 2 that filmed or created clips to put in trailers, but those clips were never in the movie. So for Avengers Infinity War, I'm talking about like that Hulk scene, Hulk running around or running with the rest of the Avengers down Wakanda, ready to fight on the on Thanos' army. So there's that Hulk scene that never appeared. Like the Hulk after the first part of the movie, Hulk never appeared after. So that was never in the movie. And for Deadpool 2, it's X-Force. X-Force was like in the trailers. They were featured in the trailers, but as you guys know, if you guys have seen the movie, those clips in the trailers did not show up in the Deadpool movie. So why do people, like, why do companies do this now? Well, mainly because of the internet nowadays, and there's a lot of a lot of channels out there dedicated to just breaking down these trailers and like breaking down marketing and trying to dissect it to see if they can predict the movie. And that's kind of, I mean, I follow those. I watch a lot of those trailer breakdowns kind of videos. And so in a sense, the studios have to sort of mislead so that their trailers don't give too much away, because a lot of people are smart. And like even the smallest hint of something, they can figure it out. So these studios are actually probably doing this as a reaction so that people are genuinely surprised. And that's one of the pros. So if we pro-con this thing, one of the pros is that if the trailers are misleading, then the studios will actually genuinely surprise you with their story. So if they'll mislead you with the trailer, like for example, Avengers Infinity War, the Hulk, the trailers, the Hulk appears, but in this one, the Hulk doesn't appear. So that was a little bit of a surprise. So that's like a little story beat that you don't pick up on and are generally surprised by it. So that's one thing. But the con to that, one bad thing, the main bad thing, is that like people don't like the bait and switch. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to watch something, expecting something, and then something else turns up. Unless you're really confident that people are going to like your product, you don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So you don't want to fool people. There's only so much that can do to make people, to please people, but it will also disappoint people. With Deadpool 2, I was a little bit disappointed with the fact that they marketed X-Force, but we did not get these X-Force characters. I mean, I was excited for Bedlam. I was excited for Shatterstar, but they never appeared. They didn't really do a lot of action in Deadpool 2. So, I mean, there's the takeaway. And it was all, what sucks the most, I think, is because it was all for gags. It was just a joke. They killed off Shatterstar and Bedlam, really cool characters, just for the sake of a joke. And to me, I don't know, some part of me thinks that's a little bit of a disrespect to those characters, but at the same time, this is different. It's the movies, it's not comics, right? So there's that. I do also want to talk about number 2, Rob Liefeld. Now this guy, if you guys have not been following Rob Liefeld's career, I actually started reading Rob Liefeld's stuff back when he did New Mutants and X-Force, and then he moved on from that to Image Comics, where he founded Awesome Entertainment Studios or something like that, something really crazy, and then he created Youngblood, Prophet, those characters for that comic studio. And this guy is known for bad anatomy, and not like, there's even a joke in Deadpool about the person who created Cable and Domino not knowing how to draw legs and feet. That's Rob Liefeld. He was known as the artist who didn't know how to draw proper anatomy. And if you look at some of his artwork, yes, you can kind of see that he doesn't quite understand how muscles work, kind of thing. But at the same time, like, I give this guy so much respect, and I think it's not so much his art that I'm a fan of, but it's his enthusiasm, it's his attitude. Excuse me, I burped. I just had breakfast. It's his attitude, it's his enthusiasm, it's how much passion he puts in his projects. If you guys follow him on Instagram, you'll know what I mean. Like, this guy just, he's living the dream right now, because all of the characters that he created like 20 years ago are surging in popularity now, and he's just riding the coattails of it. And you see how grateful he is, and you see how awesome it was for him to be able to do all of these things and to have the impact that he has, like the legacy that he has. It's something to be proud of, and that's something that I wish I would I would have in the future, is like a legacy that I can be proud of, you know, some stuff that I created from scratch that people will appreciate years and years down the line. So definitely, like, Rob Liefeld, he may not be the best artist in the world, but his enthusiasm, his passion more than makes up for it. And I recommend you guys follow him on Instagram, because he's the real deal. He's pretty genuine, I would say. And like, it's also an inspiration, because Rob never went to art school. He hustled hard. Like, this guy busted his butt. He was, if you know his story, he was broke. He was 21 years old. He didn't know what to do with his life, kind of thing, but he just followed his passion, and he believed in his passion. Like, he liked to draw, he drew comic books, and he believed that the comic book, like, being in the comic books was going to take him far. And that's exactly what he did. That's what, like, he, without an art degree, without going to art school, he managed to be successful in an art industry. You know what I mean? So, like, think about how awesome that is. Like, that's inspirational, and I think everybody should follow Rob, because he just exudes this commitment and this excitement for everything that he does. So definitely go check that out. Yeah, I give Rob Liefeld props for just being such an awesome role model for people like me. You know, I never went to art school too, so if Rob could do it with commitment, with dedication, and with passion, then if he can do it, then I feel I can do it too. So, I mean, that's my takeaway from Rob Liefeld's story. Yeah, so that's that. So having said all that, let's talk about Deadpool 2. Whoa, almost fell. And more specifically, I want to talk about the things that I couldn't discuss in my non-spoiler review because of spoilers. So, number one, Vanessa gets killed. Okay, so if you were not a fan of the first Deadpool movie, then you won't be a fan of this one. Like, the relationship between Vanessa and Wade Wilson was not established in this movie. It was established in the last movie. So you need to know how they met and how they fell in love in the last movie in order to, like, to understand Deadpool's motivation for this movie. And that's because Vanessa gets killed in the beginning. I knew it was happening. I knew it was going to happen because it was spoiled for me. I read too much into the articles talking about it. So that's why I really dislike spoilers, because that was spoiled for me, and I knew it was happening, and I disliked it, that I knew that it was going to happen. So Vanessa gets killed. Okay, so that's the motivation for Deadpool this whole movie. Okay, I liked it, but I hate that it was spoiled. Okay, number two, X-Force is killed, and that's what I'm talking about, you guys. So as a huge fan of the 90s comics, I was a huge fan of Shatterstar mainly, and Domino, yeah, Cable, and all those guys. But to misuse, it was just like how I felt in Iron Man 3 when they misused the Mandarin. That's exactly how I felt they did with Shatterstar, mainly Shatterstar, a little bit, maybe Bedlam a little bit. I should have seen it coming, because with the character of Zeitgeist, if you guys followed the comics, Zeitgeist died a gruel, like, horrible death in the comics, so it was kind of similar, the same thing. So Zeitgeist died. Even Peter got killed. Oh man, my nose is itchy. Peter got killed. Shatterstar was killed. He was sliced by helicopter blades. Bedlam got hit by a bus. Peter got puked on by Zeitgeist, who was in a wood chipper. You know what I mean? They're funny deaths. So I liked that it was funny, and it was a really fun sight gag. But at the same time, I hate that they wasted these characters. And also, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, there's one more character that was not in the trailers. I was very surprised when I saw it. It was Vanisher, the Vanisher. If you guys don't know the Vanisher, he appeared in like X-Men, early X-Men comics, X-Men #2 or something like that. Or like, even more surprising was that Brad Pitt played this character, and you see a little bit of Brad Pitt's face when he fell into the wires and he got electrocuted. And I thought that was such a funny sight gag. That was one of the scenes that made me laugh really loud in the theaters. I loved it. I loved it. At the same time, I disliked it because these characters were just, they were hyped in the trailers and then they were killed off before they even saw any action. It was funny, but sad at the same time. So it was kind of bittersweet. I wish, like, with the ending, Ryan Reynolds went back and saved Vanessa. Ryan Reynolds went back and saved Peter. Who's to say that he went back and saved Shatterstar and Bedlam and all those guys too? Who is to say that he canceled the parachuting because of the bad winds? You know what I mean? So they kind of left it open so that we can explore those characters again later on. Another trailer, or another thing that was not teased in the trailers, but was a genuine surprise to me, actually was not, was the Juggernaut. There was a hint. Somebody mentioned online that the Juggernaut could be in this film. So it was already kind of in my head, but I wasn't thinking about it. But when he did, well, they were having hints of him in the movie, that he's like the biggest guy in the prison. And when he finally showed up, I was very surprised at the appearance of Juggernaut. So I knew that I sort of knew that he was going to be in this movie because it was spoiled, but I had no idea what he was going to look like. And this was the character that I was talking about, where he was redeemed, just like Deadpool was redeemed. Like, he had a really bad character. He was a really bad character in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Colossus was redeemed. He was just like a really minor, forgettable character from X2 and X3. Colossus came here, Breakout. They did it again with the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut was an X3, played by Vinnie Jones. It was okay, but it was a product of its time, not comic accurate, kind of a lame villain. He came back, he's more comic accurate, he's more awesome looking, and I'm just so excited that he appeared in this film. Now, he wasn't killed off, so there's potential for the Juggernaut to come back, and I would love to see him come back in future installments of Deadpool and maybe X-Force. Yeah, like, I was very excited to see Juggernaut. I would have loved to see him in his orange and brown outfit, more so than the prison garb that he wore. Like, yeah, I don't understand why he wore the prison garb, but he still had his helmet on. I couldn't understand that. But I was willing to let it go. I thought it was funny. In this movie, Deadpool dies. Like, he actually dies. But I mean, with time travel, they went back and Cable saved him by putting a coin where he would have gotten shot in the future. But Deadpool dies. I didn't expect that either. So, I mean, that was a pretty cool twist, I think, in the story, because he didn't expect that. Because Deadpool, he's indestructible, you know what I mean? He got blown up. He blew himself up in this one. He tried to commit suicide. So this movie is pretty dark. But Colossus was able to put him back together, right? Juggernaut even, like, ripped Deadpool in half. Which is funny because then he had to regrow his lower half, which, like, it was a really funny scene, that regrowing scene. And if you guys missed the reference, there's like a Basic Instinct that movie referenced in there, and I thought that was hilarious. But Deadpool dies in this movie. They played it off hilarious, like he had like this long drawn out death, but he actually dies, and I thought it was kind of cool. I like that they went there, you know. So, because this movie is about a wisecracking, like, a foul-mouthed mercenary, in order for people to like this foul-mouthed mercenary, they had to give the character heart. And that's what this movie, like I said, this movie is all about heart. It's all about his relationship with Vanessa and him trying to find family. So, I mean, and him learning to care about other people than himself, like that Fire Fist guy. Okay, so that's that. And then Cable decided to stay. I didn't understand that character motivation, because why would you decide to waste your one last chance to, like, go back to your wife and kid and stay in this timeline? I felt like there was no motivation for him to do that, and I thought it was just forced. But he stayed, so that's cool. We get to see Cable more now in, like, future Deadpool movies. I like that. Hopefully more character development, because we never really saw, aside from his motivation to save his wife and child, never really saw more, like, anything deeper with Cable. Just that he was a guy from the future. We don't know much about him. Comes back, becomes a bad guy for a little bit, becomes a good guy at the end. So that's Cable's motivation right there. So I'd be excited to see that explored more in future Deadpool movie or the X-Force spinoff. And the last thing, of course, is the mid-credit scenes where Wade Wilson, Deadpool, goes back in time. He saves Vanessa. He kills his very first appearance form in X-Men Origins Wolverine. I thought that was hilarious. I was laughing so hard. And then he goes and kills Ryan Reynolds before he signs on to Green Lantern. And then he looks at the camera and says, "You're welcome, Canada." Being Canadian, I thought that was hilarious. And I mean, look, I got a smile on my face just talking about it because it's genuine. Like, it's just so funny. Like, this movie is so meta. And when you understand each of the references, it's just like joke after joke after joke. You can't help but smile, even if there's like dark stuff happening on the screen. And that's what I love about this Deadpool movie. Like I said, it's not as good as Deadpool 1 because in Deadpool 1, you were very surprised. You didn't know what to expect. And in this one, that's all taken away. Like, you're not surprised anymore, and we have high expectations of this movie. So there's pros and cons, but it's still up there. Like, Deadpool 2 is one of my favorite movies. I put Avengers Infinity War and then Deadpool 2. And today, actually, I'm gonna go see Solo, a Star Wars movie, a little bit later on, so I'm very excited for that. So anyway, you guys, I think that is it that I want to talk about. I could talk about this movie for all day, actually, but I have to end it there. Let me know what you guys think of Deadpool 2. Go ahead and spoil it. I don't mind in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching this. It got pretty long. I didn't expect it to go this long, but thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next vlog video. Take care.